everyone, and today we are going to be ranking every single nation's performance at Euro 2024. So let's just set down the ground rules before we get into this, okay? There are 3 categories I'll be ranking, and then we'll get an average from those 3 categories. The 3 categories are reality versus expectation, how we're expected to perform and how they performed in reality, and then there's also the run they had, and there's a separate key for that which I'll get into a second, and there's the playstyle, how nice they were, how appealing they were to watch, which also factors into the score. There's also a bonus points which I'll give to if I think a score doesn't accurately depict how good a tournament this nation have. I am allowed to either give or take away 3 points maximum to be able to put it at a score I think really encapsulates what they deserve. For how good their run was, as in this is how deep they got into the tournament, I have a key. If you finished 4th in the group stage, that is 0 points. If you finished 3rd in the group stage and you were eliminated, that is 2 points. If you got knocked out in the round of 16, that is 4 points. If you got knocked out in the quarterfinal, that is 6 points. If you got knocked out in the semis, that is 8 points. If you made the final, that's only one team, but didn't win it, you get 9 points. If you won the whole competition, again only one team, you get 10 points. Is that all the categories are out of 10 except for the bonus one. The bonus one does not go into the average, it just gets added on to the final score. Let's get started. Well, I'm just going to do this in order in the groups as I went through the groups, and then the teams that first came to me from that group is what I went with. So first off, we're going with the hosts. Germany. Germany were really expected to shine at this tournament. From just before they thought, people had a few reservations about them, but I did see people before the tournament predicting them to win the whole thing. And as the tournament started, people were predicting them to win even more and more. They looked like the favourites, they had homegrown advantage, but then they got knocked out in the quarterfinals, which is why I've only gone with a 4 out of 10 for them there. Their run, of course, they got to the quarterfinals, so that's a 6 out of 10. And the playstyle, they played phenomenally. They were such a joy to watch, which is why I've given them an 8 out of 10 for that. Now that altogether would give us a 6 out of 10, but I think they've done a little bit better than that, so I gave them an extra point, an extra bonus point, so there's 7 out of 10 for Germany. Next up is Scotland, and now this team was predicted to finally get a first win in a major international competition. They're expected to do well. People really thought they'll definitely make the round of 16s. They could even crack a quarter-final. Maybe they even have a good run and lucky with favourable draws and get to the semi-finals. But they finished bottom in their group, which is why I gave them a 1 out of 10 for expectation versus reality. Of course, they finished 4th in their group, so that is a 0 out of 10 for run. And they weren't playing the worst football, but the defence was very poor, and they weren't incredible attacking-wise. Of course, they only scored 2 goals, so in the end, that's why I've given them only a 3 out of 10 there. No bonus points, and that leaves them with a 1.4. Moving on to Hungary, and now a lot of people expected this team to do quite well, especially after the last Euros. Really thought that they could definitely crack probably top 2 in their group and be able to get through to the round of 16, squeeze a quarter-final, but in the end, they finished 3rd and were knocked out that way, and it was really far from what people were expecting. I expected them to finish 2nd in that group, and that's why I've only given them a 3 out of 10 for expectation versus reality. Of course, they finished 3rd and got knocked out, so that is a 2 out of 10 for run. And they didn't play terribly, they just weren't very clinical, and that's why I've given them a 5 out of 10 for play style. So in the end, that is a 3.4 for Hungary. Not really great, is it? The final team of Group A, and it's Switzerland. Some people saw them doing well, as they usually do in international tournaments. A lot of people, such as myself, really doubted this team and thought they wouldn't do anything. I expected them to finish bottom in this group, but in the end, they got to the quarterfinals. A pretty good showing from them, and were unable to surpass England, and that's why I've given them a 6 out of 10 for expectation versus reality. Of course, they made the quarterfinals, so that is a 6 out of 10 there, and they played quite well. They were pretty nice to watch, which is why I've given them a 6 out of 10 for playstyle. They've gotten a 6 out of 10 with that, and I don't think there's anything. I think that sounds about right, so no bonus points either. Then there's Spain's, the actual winners. And I had to give myself a rule for this one. You can't give bonus points that puts the team above a 10 out of 10. And of course, expectation versus reality, they were really expected not to. I saw people saying they'd get grouped. No one expected these people. They were like, what, 4th or 5th favourites to win. They should have been nowhere near this, but they won it, which is why I give them a 10 out of 10 for expectation versus reality. Of course, they won, so that's an automatic 10 out of 10, and they played the best football at the tournament, which is why playstyle is also a 10 out of 10. It is a 10 out of 10 total from Spain, and I can't give them a bonus because they're already at a 10 out of 10. Then there is Croatia, and Croatia were not very good. Following finishing 3rd in the World Cup after finishing 2nd at the previous World Cup, many people saw Croatia as a team that could do decently in this tournament, get to a quarter-final really, probably get to that point, but it wasn't possible. It didn't happen. They couldn't do it, and that's why I've given them a 5 out of 10 for reality versus expectation. They were knocked out as a 3rd place team in their group, which is why they've got a 2 out of 10 for run, and they didn't really play incredible football, and they weren't the best to watch, which is why I've just given them a 4 out of 10. And altogether, that would give them a 3.7 out of 10. I thought that was a little harsh, so I gave them an extra point, so it's 4.7 out of 10. Now, Italy were the defending champions going into this tournament, and in the end they went out in the round of 16, a very poor tournament for them, which is why I gave them a 3 out of 10 for expectation versus reality. Of course, they got to the round of 16, so that is a 4 out of 10 for run, and they really didn't play very good football, which is why I gave them 3 out of 10 for their play style, and I don't think they deserved any bonus points, because 3.4 for this tournament sounds about right for Italy. It was very poor. Then there's Albania, who, while finishing 4th in their group, were able to play decently against some of the teams in this group that they were really expected to get drubbed in every single game. They only lost by 1 goal. They didn't lose by more than 1 goal. They got a draw against Croatia. I don't think anyone saw that coming. They only lost 1-0 to Spain and only lost 2-1 to Italy, and setting the record for the fastest ever goal, which is why I've given it Albania here a 6 out of 10 for expectation versus reality, because everyone saw them getting absolutely hammered in this, what many saw as the group of death. But in the end, they did quite well with it. And so, yeah, 6 out of 10 for that. Of course, they did finish bottom in their group, so obviously that is a 0 out of 10 for run. And they didn't play the best football, really, which is why I've given them a 4 out of 10 for play style, which would have given them a 3.4. I thought that was a little harsh, so I gave them an extra point there with the bonus. And that is a 4.4 for Albania. Now there's England, and now this is a real tough cookie, because England made the final. They played shocking throughout the entire tournament and didn't look good. They looked so unconvincing in every game, bar 1. So for that reason, I gave them a 5 out of 10 for reality versus expectation, because this team was very much favoured, definitely in the bookies' eyes, to win the tournament. They made the final, but they bumbled their way to there. They were woeful. They only got 5 points from their group, and it was a really, really easy group for them, really. And it's just shocking from England that that's the performance we got from them. So yeah, 5 out of 10 for them there. Their run, though, they did make the final, so they do get a 9 out of 10 there. And their play style, they played absolute terrorism football. They just played it safe at every opportunity, except for when they were behind late on. And with the exception of the Netherlands game, just looked woeful all tournament. So I gave them a 3 out of 10 there for playstyle, obviously, and that would give them a 5.7, and I think that's too much. So for the first instance, I'm taking away a point from England to give them a 4.7, because I think that represents their tournament just perfectly. Denmark now, in the last Euros, they made it to a semi-final, and no one was really predicting anything near that for them for this tournament, having gotten grouped at the last World Cup. And so, for that reason, making the round of 16 and getting knocked out by the hosts, Germany, who looked very good, I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10, especially since they didn't look too bad against Germany either. Of course, they made the round of 16 and got knocked out in it, so that is only a 4 out of 10 there. Then their play style, they weren't too attractive, they weren't too terrorist, so I'm just giving them 5 out of 10 there. And that would have left them with a 5 spot on. I thought that was maybe a little harsh, so I gave them 0.5 to give them a 5.5 overall. Then there's Serbia. I personally was expecting a lot better from Serbia. They had the likes of Milinkovic Savic, who I thought was going to be good. He made my worst team in the tournament in the end. Vlahovic, Mitro. There's just a decent bit of talent here. I thought third place, definitely nailed on, especially with Slovenia in this group. But they didn't even make third. I thought they could maybe even squeeze a second over Denmark, but in the end, no. Just completely useless, and which is why I've given them a 2 out of 10. Expectation versus reality. Of course, run, they finished 4th, so that's 0 out of 10. And play style, they were very unattractive. They scored a goal, had 2 goalless games, and just boring. So that's a 1 out of 10 for play style, and it's a 1 overall. Next is Slovenia. And absolutely no one was expecting anything from Slovenia in this group. They were nailed on as bottom of this group. And they managed to qualify and then take Portugal, one of the dark horses of this tournament, 2 penalties. Incredible. They were this close. They were a Benjamin Šeško chance away from a quarter-final, but they just fell short. So I have given them, actually, 7 out of 10 here. The run, of course, knocked out in the round of 16 here, so that is a 4 out of 10. They weren't the best or the most entertaining to watch. I mean, they had 2 0-0 draws in a row, one being a full 120 minutes, which is why I've given them a 3 out of 10 for play style. Overall, that would have been a 4.7. I feel like that's really harsh, so I gave them a +1. That's a 5.7. Moving on to France now, and France were my pre-tournament favourites, and they were woeful. They were shocking. 1 goal in open play all tournament, and they played 6 matches, and it came in that 6th match. They went 5 games without scoring a goal in open play in a tournament and managed to make the semi-finals. That is ridiculous, especially when they had such an electric attack, and they were big pre-tournament favourites, which is why I've given them a 6 out of 10 for expectation versus reality, because they still did make the semi-final. Because they still made the semi-final, that is an 8 out of 10 for that. And their play style, they were so boring to watch. They only scored 1 goal in open play, obviously, so they've been given a 2 out of 10 there. And that would give them a 5.4, which I thought was way too much, and I've given them the biggest removal of points, a -2, because they were woeful, and I think a 3.4 better represents this tournament for them. Then there's the Netherlands, who did make the semi-finals, but didn't play very hard opposition along the way, and almost fumbled against Turkey. Not very good opposition, okay? They squeezed past Turkey, smashed Romania, and were just edged past by England. So, I mean, while some people saw them as dark horses, I think they were one of the smaller dark horse picks, and they got to the semi-final. It was pretty decent. I think that was the ceiling many people saw for the Netherlands. No one really saw them making a final, but a semi-final, people could see that. I think most people thought quarter-final. They managed to get a stage past that, which I would give them 6 out of 10. The run, of course, making semi-final gives them an 8, and their play style, they were kind of fun to watch, so I gave them a 6 out of 10. And with that gives them a 6.7, which I think perfectly represents the Netherlands tournament, which is why I haven't given any bonus point. Then there's Austria, and now this is a tough one for a different reason than England, because they had a brilliant group stage, managing to top a group with France and the Netherlands, but then managed to get knocked out by Turkey in the round of 16. That was ridiculous. That reason I've gone with just above average. We're giving them a 6. Their run, of course, knocked out in the round of 16, meaning they get a 4 out of 10. And their playstyle, they were very nice to watch, which is why I gave them a 7 out of 10, which would have given them a 5.7. I thought they deserved a bit better than that. I think they deserved around a 6.5, which is why I've given that to them by giving them a 0.8 bonus score. So I thought 6.7. I don't think they should be that high up to a 7, but I don't think they should be bound to a 6, which is why I've given them that bonus point to make it a 6.5 for Austria. Last team from Group D is Poland, and Poland were woeful, but no one really expected them to be anything more. I saw people saying, oh, it's between Austria and Poland for the bottom ones, and they won't go through. I thought Austria definitely would go through in 3rd, but I thought Poland would be lucky to get a point, and that's exactly what they got. So I'm just giving them a 4, because I think I'm in a little bit of a minority. I think some people thought they'd be closer with Austria, which is why I've not given them average, just like about the same. I've given them a bit under that. I've given them a 4 out of 10 there. Their run, of course, finishing last gives them a 0, and then their playstyle, they were boring as fuck to watch, so I only gave them a 2 out of 10 there. A simple 2 overall there for Poland. Sounds about right, really, so no bonus points. Belgium. Now, Belgium, everyone thought this is a dead golden generation. They're not going to really do anything. Round of 16 would be around where they get, and they got to the round of 16. I think they got exactly how their expectation was, really, just making the round of 16, which is why I've just given them a 5 out of 10. It's average. It's pretty much what they were. It was all they were really expected to do. Their run, of course, making the round of 16 would give them a 4 for run, and their play style, they played okay. It's another 5, a very average team. 4.7 sounds exactly right for Belgium. They're just below average for what they were really looking for. So yeah, 4.7. Then there is Ukraine. Oh boy, Ukraine really were awful, especially compared to what they were expected. They were already expected to finish second, maybe squeak a first over Belgium. They finished bottom. That was shocking. An absolutely shocking performance from Ukraine. A lot better was expected from Ukraine here. People were really expecting them to go to the round of 16, maybe even the quarters. Maybe, just maybe, they could squeeze the semis. Bottom of their group is ridiculously woeful. 0 out of 10 for reality versus expectation. Their run, of course, 4th in their group, also a 0. Their play style was fine. It was fine. They were fine to watch. I mean, they were awful to watch against Romania. Absolutely battered there. But then in the end, win and a draw, they were just kind of average to watch. Finished bottom. They were very unlucky to finish bottom because of, well, they finished with a win and a draw. Most times, that is finishing you third. That is getting you through. But just ridiculous. Out on goal difference. I cannot believe that got away from them. Losing 3-0 to Romania really takes the cake and gives them that 0 out of 10 for reality versus expectation. I've given them a 5 out of 10 for play style, and in the end, it's a 1.7 total. That sounds about right. They were woeful. Then there's Slovakia, and Slovakia grossly overperformed. They got to a round of 16 that no one was expecting. I had them bottom here easily. Managed to finish second in the end, I think it was. Oh no, it was third. They managed to finish third in the end, sorry. And they were this close. They were a minute and a half away from squeaking it against England. And I think for that alone, because no one expected them to get through. No one was expecting them to get through England, and they almost did. So I've given them an 8 out of 10 for expectation versus reality. Their run, of course, knocked out in the round of 16, so that is a 4. Their playstyle, they weren't bad to watch. They were kind of nice to watch with Starman Hlojek. I liked watching them. They were pretty cool, so I gave them a 6 out of 10 there. The bonus is a 0.5, actually, because I think 6 is what they would have gotten. I think that's just a little less than they really deserve, so 6.5 sounds about right, and there you go. Slovakia. Into the final group now, and there's Portugal. And this is a bit of a tough cookie, because many people saw them as the dark horses. They lost 2-0 to Georgia. Shocking performance. Ronaldo playing up top was a complete disaster. They just squeaked past Slovenia and almost squeaked past France, but in the end it wasn't to be. So I've just given them a 6 out of 10 there. Their run, they made the quarterfinals, of course, so that's a 6 out of 10. Playstyle, they weren't bad to watch. They weren't bad to watch. They were kind of entertaining because they do have some attacking talent, but the attacks would just always break down, so gave them just a 6. That would be a 6 out of 10, which I think is just a bit too much. I've given them a -1, given them a 5. It's a very average tournament. Penultimately, the Czech Republic, and now these man were shit. These man were absolutely shit. I expected a 2nd place finish for them, and in the end they finished bottom with a point. Fucking woeful from the Czech Republic, from Czechia. Like, just, what are you doing? Gave them a 1 out of 10 there. Of course, they finished bottom of their groups. That's 0. Playstyle, they were just boring as fuck to watch. So 0. Bonus is 0 because I think the 0.4 that they've been given is exactly what they deserve. Turkey here, the final team now. Turkey, they proved me wrong time and time again. I said they'd finish bottom of their group. They finished 2nd. I said they'd get easily beaten by Austria. They beat them. And I said they'd easily get swept aside by the Netherlands. They just about lost. So I think for them, it's a 7 out of 10, really. pretty solid. Their run, of course, getting knocked out in the quarterfinals gives them the 6, and playstyle, they were very fun to watch. So I gave them an 8 there, so they were a nice team to watch. I think the 7 that they get overall here really sums up their tournament, so I've not given them any bonus points, and that is it. So that is the last team. So let's look at top 5 teams. So 6th, 5th, and 4th are all actually joint, but I've gone with Romania as the one that isn't in the top 5 because they put up less of a fight than 5th. Georgia, who actually gave Spain a fight. Then it's the Netherlands in 4th. They made the semis, so I put them 4th. Then it's Germany, Turkey are equal. I've gone Germany 3rd and Turkey 2nd because I think Turkey just about they played a bit better than them and had less expectations on them. Spain top easily with 10. Then the bottom 5. There's no one drawing here until there's no equal points. 5th is Poland with 2 points, the 5th worst team. 4th is Ukraine with 1.7, the 4th worst team. Scotland, the 3rd worst team with 1.4. Serbia, the 2nd worst team with 1. And the Czechia is the worst team with 0.4. The 3 overachievers, the top 3 overachievers as well, we have 5th and 4th. Because this is based off expectation versus reality, and 3 teams are drawing with 7. The only one that makes the cut here is Turkey, because I think Turkey would definitely the team that overperformed more than Slovenia and Romania here. 2nd is Slovakia, and I've put that down to the group they were in. They were really expected to finish bottom there, and as well taking it to England, the pre-tournament favourites, just edges them out, gave them an 8, and I think they deserve an 8, yeah. Spain, easily with 10, because, people were expecting, I'd say about 20% of people thought that Spain would get grouped. And then there's top 3 underachievers. 3rd and 2nd are drawn, but there is no 4th that is also drawn. I did rank them as well, but Czechia at 3rd with 1, because I think they were just they underperformed just slightly less than Scotland, who were just hopeless, and they went in 2nd. And the underperformer, the underachiever, is Ukraine with 0, and I stand by it. They were completely awful. People expected them to finish 2nd or 1st, maybe squeeze a semi-final, probably around a quarter-final was probably their ceiling, and bottom in their group, just completely hopeless. And that now concludes the rankings, and this might possibly be the longest Euro video. This is the last proper Euro video as well. The next one will be goodbye Euro 2024, and that will finish the Euro 2024 content. Thank you so much if you watched up to this point, because you're supporting massively watching this much of a video, so you're a fucking legend. If you're new, leave a sub and a like. I hope you enjoyed watching your first video. If you're not new, just leave a like. Then you no need to sub, you're already sub. I've been Ollie Mudkip, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.